तत्परं पर्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ओम योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। Namaste, Vanakkam, Swagatam. We are still having the non-stop rain going on, and so I'm inside the hut instead of being out there in the bright sunshine today. But ultimately, where we are, we create our own sunshine. So be the sunshine wherever you are, not dependent on the external sunshine, but become the internal sunshine. Ammaji is doing well, and it's very beautiful to be part of her Kayakalpa process and experience the journey that she is on at present. We have had a cyclone hit the lower part of India, and here we have huge amount of rain going on, non-stop rain, and it's like nature's saying, I am back doing what I need to do for myself, and you human beings, please get out of the way. And 2020 has taught us that ultimately nature is supreme. Recently I was a bit upset. I was in one of my bad mood days. We all have them. And decided to take my car and go on a long drive. I find that creating this type of external space enables you to go into the inner space and have a sense of vairagya, a space where objectivity can come in, responsiveness can come in, rather than subjective reactivity. I was not sure how to deal with certain challenges that are there in life at present. Not sure how to go ahead. And I stopped at a temple which has a huge Hanumanji statue. It's very popular to have these huge 20-30 feet standing Hanumanji statues. I stopped at that temple by the side of the road and looked at Hanumanji. Today is Saturday, a day very special for Hanumanji. And when I looked at Hanumanji, I saw that he was standing with his hand in Abhaya Mudra. And the teachings that I have been given all of you all these days, the teachings I have been sharing worldwide about the necessity to have fearlessness through the practice and the understanding of Abhaya Mudra suddenly dawned on me. A very beautiful realization how the bottom line of life, and life is yoga, yoga is life. The bottom line of life is that we need to overcome this sense of fear that paralyzes us. Especially as human beings, the fear of the unknown. when you are a small rat, you are scared of being eaten by a mouse, the cat. So the rat is scared of being eaten by the cat. If you are a small bird, you are scared of being eaten by the eagle. A small fish is scared of being eaten by the big fish. An animal is scared of noise. But then as a human being, we have been endowed with consciousness. And at that point, we are not really scared of many of the things that animals are scared of, because we have found ways to deal with those threats. But I think what really scares us as an intelligent, conscious human being is the unknown. And what is more unknown? What is more unknown than the future? Because we know the past, we have been there, done that. And we are in the present. But the future is the unknown. We really don't know. We really don't know what is happening the very next second. Will we be around for the next second? Will we be around next week? We meet our friends and family and we say, okay, see you next week. We really have no guarantee that we will be around the next week, or that they will be around the next week, or for that matter, that even this planet will exist next week. And the moment we start to think about it, see, as long as you are not a thinking human being, as long as you are thick-skulled, featherless biped with flat nails, you don't think about this, because you are busy running to work, getting paid for the work you do, making money to buy things that you don't need, to satisfy feelings that will never be satisfied for people who would be sometimes better off without you there. And you are constantly caught in this, and so you don't really have time to think about it. You don't have the space to think about it. But the moment you start to come on the yoga path, the moment you set your feet, or your foot, whichever you feet, both feet is safer than just one. The moment you set foot on the yoga path and consciousness starts to dawn, mindfulness starts to dawn in you, you start to develop the capacity of contemplation, self-reflection. And it is at that point that this unknown factor really starts to become a huge mountain in front of you. For most people, it doesn't even exist. Try talking about it to most people on this planet and they will not even understand you. They'll think you are a weirdo like Dr.Ananda. Join the club. The moment you have that space, you are no longer caught in fulfilling the basic needs that are driving everyone. And that is why when we start to contemplate this unknown, we realize how puny and insignificant we are as an individual. And that is the moment where fear paralyzes you. I'm not talking of the fear that somebody will shoot you. Who cares about that? If they do it, that's their business. It's not the fear of a tiger jumping out of the cage onto you. No. You are now having a fear that is coming from the capacity to contemplate something much bigger. And it is so big, it scares you. It is at that moment that we need this reiteration from the divine. The reiteration from the divine in this form of Hanumanji, which I'm talking about. All the deities in Asian culture have Abhaya Mudra. Abhaya. Bhaya is fear. Bhayam. Bhayam, 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 Bhayam. We did a dance drama on the Navarasa of dance, the 9 emotions, and Bhayam is one of them. Bhayam paralyzes you. And that is why the cultures of Asia, the ancient cultures, they had the divinity reassuring us Abhaya. One of my compositions on Lord Muruga was said to make a statement, Yam irukka bayamedu. Why do you have fear when I am there with you? Yam irukka, I am there. Yam irukka. Irukka means to be. Yam, me. Bayam, yed. And that is why in this composition I talk about the human being who's scared. Just like Arjuna was scared on the battlefield of the Mahabharata. We are scared. And when you are scared, stress response, the stress reaction, all the stress hormones, noradrenaline, adrenaline, they start to pump from your adrenals and fight, flight, freeze, all of that happens. The trigger is this fear of the unknown. Because you have now started to think about it. You have started to contemplate it. You have become an human being who's capable of thinking of it. That Bhaya. And the culture said, Abhaya. So the song for Lord Muruga talks about the human being who's scared. Irul agandai soozhda. Irul agandai soozhda. The darkness of the ego. The ego wants to survive, for most people. That's the biggest fear. Oh my God, what if my ego doesn't exist? Irul agandai soozhda mayai. Maya, the illusionary world, which we think is real and so we are scared of losing it. Agatridum, to dispel the darkness of the ignorant, arrogant, illusionary existence. Yamirka Bayamed. Bayamed Marnidam. Bayamed Marnidam. Irulagandai Sundam. Mayai Agatridum. மால்மகனில் பயமேது மானிட இருளகந்தை சூழ்ந்த மாயை அகற்றிடும் மால்மகனில் பயமேது மானிட யாமிருக்க பயம் ஏது யாமிருக்க பயம் ஏது என்று அபயகரத்துடனே காட்சி தருவான் வேலன் யாமிருக்க பயம் ஏது என்று அபயகரத்துடனே காட்சி தருவான் வேலன் பயமேது மானிட. Why do you have fear when Lord Muruga, the nephew of Lord Vishnu, is standing with the hand in Abhaya Karam saying, I am there for you. Why are you scared? The reassurance of the Abhaya Mudra. Fear not. What are we fearing? We are fearing the unknown. Why are we fearing the unknown? Because we are caught in the survival instinct of Abhinivesha Klesha. Why does the klesha come into existence? Because of a sense of duality. Duality is the root of fear. And this is not Dr. Ananda's statement. This is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. From Dvaitam comes Bhayam. The moment you have a sense of duality, fear sets in. And that is why the other day I said, the whole problem starts when we move from that non-duality to duality, which is basically what life is about. A duality starts to exist when we say, I am me. And the individual thinks it now has to survive at any cost. Duality breeds fear. When I think you are different than me, I'm scared of you. When I think that you are different than me because you look different, you think different, you eat different, you worship different, you speak different, you dress different. And that is why one has to be very careful, because it is in the perception of duality that fear arises. And when we are talking about the unknown, why are we scared of the unknown? Because we don't know whether we as an individual, this created construct of who we are, created construct of who we are. Who created us? We created ourselves. We created this construct. I am me. And because I am me, I have to survive at any cost. And the unknown is a threat to my existence as who I am. Now, when I realize I am not this construct, I am not this construct that exists with a certain name, form, but I am the divine energy itself. Then there's no unknown. When you expand your consciousness, that is why the whole purpose of yoga, Maharishi Patanjali tells us, is to grow in consciousness until your perspective is as enlarged as the cosmos itself. The sun is not worried whether there will be another day. The moon is not worried whether there will be another day, because at the cosmic level, everything is known. There is little to be known anymore. Nyeya Malpam, as Maharishi Patanjali says in the Kaivalya Pada. There is a state of consciousness, you elevate yourself, there is nothing to be known anymore. And at that point, you have that biggest perspective. There is no unknown anymore. As long as you are the tiny, self-created construct based on avidya, the klesha, and the distorted perspective, you are so small, everything is unknown to you. As you grow, everything becomes known to you. You are moving from limited knowing to unlimited all-knowing. This is not about data. This is not about information. This is not about words. This is about you experiencing an elevated state of consciousness where there is no more an unknown. And if there is no unknown, where is the fear? Abhaya Kara. Kara is the hand, it is also to do. Live in a state of fearlessness. How do you develop that fearlessness? Expand your perspective. Do not get locked into this limited perspective that has been created by a self-construct of avidya. Avidya leading to asmita. I am, I exist, me, mine. And then what I like and what I don't like, and then all of this nonsense I have created, beautiful nonsense as Madan Mohan sir would say. I have to make it survive at any cost. Abhinivesha, klesha, the brainstem saying stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. And get caught on that rat race, the hamster going round and round and round and round. You suddenly realize the only way you can deal with this and have a state of fearlessness is by connecting to who you really are. As long as you identify with this created self-construct based on avidya, tasya hetur avidya, as Maharishi Patanjali tells us, all of this is because of avidya. And you go and attach. And so you are scared of losing. You are scared of losing because you are attached to something. And Bhartrihari, that great Sanskrit poet who was a king and then renounced it all, he tells us there will be bhaya, there will be fear as long as you are attached to anything. You are attached to wealth, you are afraid of it being lost. You are attached to your beauty, you fear it's going to get lost despite all the anti-aging treatments you may do. If you have knowledge, you are afraid of losing your knowledge. If you have strength, you are afraid of losing strength. Whatever you have, because you have said, this is mine, you are afraid of losing it. And that is why Bharatrihari was so right when he said, Vairagya meva abhayam, that abhaya can only happen when vairagya manifests. As long as one is caught in attachment, you are afraid of losing it. The fear of losing it is because you are attached to it. It doesn't matter what it be. You are attached to your religion, you are attached to your status, you are attached to your life, you are attached to your wife, you are attached to your job, you are attached to this planet, you are attached to your t-shirt, you are attached to your watch. You are attached to the sense of non-attachment. That's the spiritual trap. You are attached to the sense of non-attachment. It's also attachment. Anything that you are attached to is going to scare the dash out of you because you are afraid of losing it into the unknown. And that is why vairagya is the only way forward. Both Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Maharishi Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra make it very clear. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa is your self-effort. Vairagya is the capacity to move back. Because if you do not take a step back, you're not going to know where you are. Taking that step back and saying, as the great yogi, Jesus the Christ said, Thy will be done. Giving over to the higher. Understanding that all that is in your hands is to do your best. What is your best? Living your dharma. The purpose for which you have incarnated, your responsibility at different points of your life. That is all you can do. And then you have to step back and say, I've done my best. Now the ball's in your court, dear universe. Can we have that concept of nishkama, non-attached action that Bhagavad Gita talks about? It is only through vairagya, because as long as we have attachment, it doesn't matter what the attachment is to. Doesn't matter what it is. Even your attachment to your guru, even your attachment to yoga. That is why when Adi Shankara and the Dasha Sloki talks about it, Huh? Na yoga the yopi. Huh? Na dharana. I am not dharana, I am not yoga, I am not Sankhya, I am nothing. Because ultimately you realize all of these are constructs that have been created. The self alone shines. We are that self. But because we don't know we are that self, we have identified with something that is the non-self. Anatma. Atma is the self. Anatma, the non-self. And we have built up all this nonsense, beautiful nonsense around the non-self. That is what avidya is. Mistaking the impermanent to be permanent, the impure to be pure, the non-self to be the self, suffering to be pleasure. The sadomasochistic tendencies of us human beings. Mistaking suffering, dukkha, to be sukha. What a beautiful concept of avidya Maharishi Patanjali gives us. Anitya, asuchi, dukkha, anatmasu, nitya, suchi, sukha, atma kyatir avidya. And because of that avidya, tasya hetu avidya, because of that root of avidya, we get attached to all of this nonsense. The non-self nonsense, non-selfical nonsense. And then fear. That is where fear comes. And then you realize we are here just to have this experience. It is like you have taken in a breath and you moved away from the source. And you let out the breath and you go back to the source. Taking in the breath is abhyasa. Letting out the breath is vairagya. Every breath teaches us abhyasa vairagya abhyam tannirodha. Hanumanji with his Abhaya mudra, fear not, reassured me that Ananda, just do what you can do every moment of your life. Be what you can be every moment of your life. Do your best, leave the rest. And fear not. The universe, the universe is a benevolent universe. That universe is with you, within you. Why do you fear? Abhayamud. Thank you for being with me. It means a lot to have fellow travelers on this path, fellow beings to whom I can express these thoughts. Rare it is to find people capable of understanding them. And so when I find all of you, it means a lot. When I find all of you, it means a lot that there are still fellow beings, fellow travelers on this planet who are interested in this journey. Ultimately, it is a journey of the self to the self through the self. A journey of expanding consciousness, going back to the source. May we all experience that oneness, a state where there is no duality, there is no fear, there's just Advaita, a beautiful Sukha Sthanam of being one. Namaste. Om लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांतिः 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 ओम धन्यवादः।